What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be covering a lot more decks for EX-10. I kind of do an every deck video, but since I've already done like 2 of them, I figured it'd be a good change of pace to kind of just give you guys a little bit more of an idea where we're kind of going. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So guys, if you want to help support the channel with no extra cost, please use the affiliate link down below. It costs you nothing to support the channel, and it's just a great way of doing it while you're checking out cards that you are always ready going to be paying for. So without further ado, let's get into it. So fair warning, I don't have 100% gonna say these are like the end-all be-all lists, but they're just ways of kind of getting your minds thinking of how you want to build these. Maybe it might have some benefits in the future for wherever you want to take the deck yourself. So maybe sometimes you can get a good idea of maybe this tech might work in this list, maybe not. But so let's take a look straight up here. First off, we have going black base. The Koromon is really good. So when attack target changes, draw a card. Very powerful skill, just being able to draw cards. We kind of know what the old cards do, but a little bit of the new stuff, or even just teching in Agumon X antibody, just because if you can use a X antibody option, you can prevent it from leaving. So we're going to use Protoform to cheat evolve, because sometimes that's what you need to do to climb up. So and we also do have access to like this Agumon, which I think is a good black base just because of its all turn skill. And then, you know, start a main if this Digimon, if your opponent has a Digimon, gain a memory. So extending your plays a little bit is a good thing. Then you have like this Agu here from BT12. I think being able to search out some pieces is really decent. But we also have this Agu, who's a new starter main that is able to return one buyer's trait Digimon card with Greymon on its name from trash to your hand. So we can take advantage and get maybe loop our Greymon X's more consistently. So it's just something to think about, because again, we also are going to tech in this Agumon X, because when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, gain a memory. So most of them can Digivolve on top of this, minus this Greymon here and this one. But I think it's just a good tech just for its on play skill, or if you need to just dig a little deeper. I think being able to have this as an option, if you can just Digivolve, again, a level 3 Agumon in its name, this Greymon can do that. So you could tech this in, but you could also play any of the other black Greymons if you wanted to. There is some that if, let's just type in Greymon here. Let's just take a look. Let's go black, just thin out the herd. So let's just take a look at Greymon. Yes, we could use this one just because it gives blocker, but there are other ones that could see some decent pickup. We could definitely be playing this one, but we don't have a Tai Kamiya in our deck, which again, if you do play Tai, go for it. I have no objections on that. We could be playing this one as well, just because it gives a reboot inheritable and it digivolves on top of an Agumon. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to be kind of looking for probably this one. You know, this Greymon has some decent backup synergy, a little bit. I mean, it's just because it can digivolve on top of the Agu, right? And when attack target is changed, so you know what? Because we're going to innately be able to cause some blockage. I don't think we need to give inheritable blockage, just because again, if all turns when attack target is switched, gain a memory, even on our turn, if we're doing it, we're gonna get some decent value that we kind of want to have. So I think that's pretty good, and especially because our Black War Greymon aces have reboot and blocker, which again is very powerful of a skill that we like to have. You know, you have access to the raid Greymon that gives piercing. You know, we also have the new one that when an attack target changes, if this Digimon is Greymon in its name, trash your opponent's top security stack. And we can combo it in with Metal Greymon X antibody doing the same thing twice. You know, we have Yuya and we have Yukio. Both are great choices. You could play Tai Kamiya in here as another tech-in. That can lead to giving you the blocker inheritable a little bit more consistently. But again, it's up to you how you want to build the list. To be straight honest with you, there is no real true wrong way. I think having the Agu X here could throw you off a little bit. You could just go pure black and just make sure you have the blocker and Hairball, right? But again, just having your attack targets switch, gaining that memory boost can lead to your opponent just be like, uh-oh. Yeah, that's kind of just something you need to take in the account because again, this deck has so many good things going for it. Black War Greymon Ace has Raid and Reboot and Blocker. Delete one of your opponent's play costs 7 or lower Digimon or Tamers, and all turns while your opponent has a Digimon with 13,000 DP or more, your opponent's Digimon effects do not affect this Digimon, and it gets plus 3,000 DP. Very rarely do we actually have a Digimon that can literally laugh at your opponent for just play the game. As long as they have a 13,000 DP Digimon, means most of their level 7s will make this null and void, and he becomes a 15k on its own, especially with Raid, Reboot, and Blocker is nothing to scoff at the end of the day. Taking some Gaiomons for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Because again, this just having the ability that when an attack target changes, this Digimon gains piercing and plus 5,000 DP. When it's evolved, you may suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then this Digimon may attack. The fact that we also have a new Greymon that gives a boost to your opponent is pretty good, but the Metal Greymon, especially giving your opponent, collision, forcing you to block this Digimon, this Digimon attacks until the end of turn. So basically you can combo off that way as well and gain some value with that. This one being gaining a memory, this one the same thing, gain a memory, so you could force it back to your turn and your opponent could lose out on some great value. Now we do have Pyramidi, got a heck of a lot of support. A lot of players will probably be jumping on this deck, which no wrong or hate to do so. You guys have great access. The emblems are great for this deck because again, you may play one Sonarisa or close from your hand or trash without paying sauce, then place this card in the barrier. When any of your close suspends, delay, mineral rock trait Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon with mineral or liberator trait and it's in the hand for its Digivolution cost reduced by 3. Just emblems are really good cards for these decks. The new close is just by returning the Tamers to the bottom of the deck, you may play one close from your hand without paying the cost. Then if you don't have a Digimon, you play a Sonarisa from your trash to your hand, and then all turns when an effect trashes any mineral traded Digimon Digivolution by suspending this Tamer, gain a memory. So again, we're going to be comboing off with our closes just to make our opponent have a bad time. Again, this deck can OTK out of nowhere now just because we have new access to great pivotal points, to be straight honest with you. You have fragments, but you also have this one that you can digivolve on top of your level 5 for this for a cost of 6, which is not terrible because you can combo off that way too and just get that final attack in. So just taking a look, I think we got a new Sonarisa that was an EX-10. On play, place 2 cards with mineral or rock traits from your trash as one of your minerals or rock traded Digimon as a bottom Digivolution source. This is pretty good, actually, being able to tuck in some more resources just for the Pyramidi to be able to combo in, by trashing 3 mineral traded cards from any of your Digimon's Digivolution Digimon unsuspends and gain security attack 1 for the turn. Not once per turn. This thing's going to clear house pretty quickly. And I mean, it has some de-Digivolution effects, so you can get around your opponent trying to do things. But again, Magnetic Dragon is a very powerful card. Again, it could be a 1 to 2 of in list. You could easily take out from the new Pyramidi because again, the old one still holds up. But with the new Magnetic Dramon, when attacking by trashing 3 mineral or rock traded cards from any of your Digivolution, delete one of your opponent's Digimon and trash the top security stack, so free removal from trashing, and then by placing 3 mineral or rock cards from your trash as this bottom Digivolution card, it unsuspends. It's a once per turn skill, but again, this can lead to being some great combinations that your opponent's just not ready for you to have, especially with Pyramidi just going 1, 2, 3. Now you have a way of closing out the game. No pun intended, close. Ha! But again, you have a lot of great resources, some way of deleting some level 4 or lowers, some, de-Digivolution, the fact that you can tumble them on, gain memory is really solid. Now let's take a look into Balfamon. This is not a complete list, but taking in the fact that we had the old version, so now we have access to newer cards. The new Balfamon Sleep mode is pretty good. On play when Digivolving by placing one Balfamon Rage from your trash as the top Digivolution card until you have your opponent's turns and the Digimon cannot attack and your opponent's effects do not affect it. So again, sleep mode is scary, but at end of your opponent's turn, when any of your opponent's Digimon suspends by trashing 2 cards in your hand, suspend one of their Digimon or Tamers. So sleep mode combos in the new Rage mode that has 4-2, but suspend all your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Then, if you have 6 or fewer cards in your hand, this Digimon gains piercing and security attack 2 and 3000 DP for the turn, and start a main on play when Digivolving. Delete one of your opponent's suspended Digimon or Tamers. End of your opponent's turn. If the Digimon is Balfamon Sleep mode, trash the top stack card. So basically, it gets to go in from sleep to rage every single turn. So again, this one being able to help, delete one of your opponent's suspended Digimon or Tamers, constantly controlling the board, really is going to make your opponent have to be very, very cautious against this deck. This deck will be able to delete, make your opponent just have a bad time. And with the Akihiros in the list, we have an access to a mem setter now. If you're at 6 or fewer cards in your hand by placing this Tamer as a bottom Digivolution card of any of your Digimon with Balfamon in its name, that Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon with Balfamon in its name from trash without paying its cost. So being able to get into the sleep mode just off of going into like Gizomon XT, you don't have to rely on Astamon anymore. You can use the mem setter Akihiko to kind of get you into sleep mode. Then your opponent's just kind of, oh wait, sorry, Balfamon in their name. Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase this, as Akihiko won't use you still have to use the Astamon or Gizomon just to get into it, but your regular sleep mode can, or even just having a rage mode, just a way of getting back into sleep mode immediately at the end of your turn, is pretty good actually for your rages. So again, the deck has a lot going for it, and I wouldn't be surprised if at the local level you see this deck pretty frequently. Now, we do have Gamamon. I know a few people were asking for an updated version. The Regulusmon definitely added in something this deck wasn't expecting for, and that is the fact that, Regulusmon it has Rush and Blocker on play. When Digivolving, you may place up to 5 different names card with Gamamon in its name from your trash as this bottom Digivolution. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP than this Digimon. End of your turn. If this Digimon has 5 or more Digivolution, it may attack without suspending. And then when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted, gain 1 memory. So again, Regulusmon Super Rare is going to be a scary threat. Again, a lot of players adapted the serious deck in a way that was actually topping at the local meta. So again, we're going to see some evolution in where people are going to go. Even with Gauss Gamamon from EX-10 has Raid as an inheritable, but on play, when Digivolving, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Then you may play one Digimon with Gamamon in its name from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. Then, when an effect adds this Digimon's Digivolution, this Digimon may Digivolve into Regulusmon in your hand without, or trash with its Digivolution reduced by 1. So, Gauss Gamma being able to get cheat climb on top of with, the strongest brothers effects. One of your Digimon may Digivolve into a Gamamon as text from hand without paying its cost. It's all great. I mean, this could lead into snowballing. The strongest brothers is one of the main reasons why this deck is starting to pop off again. And the fact that we can get into Proximon, but having access to even just Seriousmon in general, just this one is pretty good when attacking. When Digivolving, place one Digimon with Gamamon as text or hero trait from your hand as this bottom Digivolution card. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. It has security attack and raid. Getting into Proximon is nothing to scoff at either. So again, a lot of this deck has a lot going for it in a good way. And I think a lot of players will adapt and build this list on how they want, however they want. And I think with the Kanos, Wisemon, and the Reguluses, you should be on watch for this deck. Now, again, we do have Das or Dustmon. So I think this is going to be one of the more competitive, just in general, Applemon decks. And Dustmon is basically one of the main reason. Security attack 1, link 1. When digivolving at the end of opponent's turn, you may link 1 Digimon from your hand to this Digimon without paying its cost. Then you may link 1 Digimon card with this Digimon's Digivolutions to this Digimon without paying its cost as well. All turns, when an effect trashes any of this Digimon's links, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So since you can trigger some effects here, I know there is one that triggers nope, that's minus 6,000 DP. This one is deleting 1 level 4 or lower. This one, when this Digimon would leave the battle area by trashing one of its links, it doesn't leave. So again, Cometmon giving that inheritable is really good for the deck. Waryudamon here. When any of your opponent's Digimon suspends by trashing one of your Digimon's links, trash your opponent's top security stack. It's pretty scary as well. We get to apply pressure there. You know, God Grade Unleash. You know, you may, when an effect trashes any of your Digimon's links, delay. You may link 1 Digimon with Appmon trait from your trash to one of your Digimon without paying its cost. Great, this card isn't restrictive, so again, now it makes decks that like Three Musketeers that wants to use some of the Apply cards with it. This now doesn't restrict it, so it can be used in any of those versions, which is pretty good actually. And a lot of players should be on the value town for that. The fact that we have, you know, Kabemon, that's basically by trashing 1 Digimon's link card, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon for when attacking. You know, when linked, by trashing 1 of this Digimon's link card, de-digivolve effects do not affect one of your Digimon until the end of opponent's turn. This Warpmon is chef's kiss. This solves so much issues for what Appley had. So this deck already having a Warpmon-esque effect already built into the strategy, you're always going to have some way of getting around your biggest weakness, and that's the Digivolution. So yeah, this is exactly what the deck needed. And then Eugen here is just basically a extender, but when an effect trashes any of your Digimon's links by suspending the same or draw a card, and of your turn, one of your Digimon may app fuse into a Digimon card in your hand. So again, great stuff. Synergy wise, we can take advantage of App Link. We have Haru. So again, at the end of the day, build the deck how you want, but I think this is pretty solid. Now, we do have Lucemon. Lucemon got some great support in the fact that we have like Cupimon and access to new cards like Lucemon that has a starter main. And on play, by trashing 1 card in your hand, your opponent may trash their top security stack. If effect didn't trash, you recover 1. But we're taking advantage of the new EX-10 one that has blocker, breeding when Digivolving this Digimon may move. So being able to sneak out a body, especially if you're paying 5, and if your turn by returning 5 cards with Lucemon and its text from your trash to the bottom of the deck, Digimon may Digivolve into Chaos mode in trash without paying its cost. So again, early game, this card is always going to be a treat that your opponent has to be on ready for. You know, even the new Lucemon Chaos mode is stupidly good. You know, by trashing 1 card in your hand, your opponent may delete one of their Digimon or Tamers, and effect didn't delete, recovery 1. All turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area, your opponent may delete one of their Digimon or Tamers. If an effect didn't delete, it doesn't leave. I mean, great. We got some great protections on this, but the fact that we do have access to this new Satan mode is ridiculous. So on play, when Digivolving, by placing 1 Lucemon larvae from your trash to an empty breeding area without paying its cost, delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. And when Digivolving, when attacking, your opponent may delete one of their Digimon or Tamers, and in fact didn't delete, trash the top security stack this Digimon unsuspends. So taking in the fact that we also have Paradise Lost, a 2 cost. This thing is ridiculous. Until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon with Lucemon in its name gains Raid, Piercing, and Blocker. Plus 3,000 DP, by the way. So this thing even gets tankier. So again, trash if you have a Lucemon in its name. By returning this card to the bottom deck, trash the opponent's top security stack, and one of your Digimon may attack without suspending. So again, this card is great. Paradise Lost is what this deck kind of needed. And the fact we also have access to Beelzemont Ace, which again, you wouldn't be playing in the 7th grade Demon Lords version, but being able to have this on play when digivolving, when attacking, trash top 2 cards of your deck, then delete one of your opponent's play cost 6 or lower. For every 10 cards, add 3 to the maximum play cost. Since you're grinding your deck, you should be fine. On play when digivolving it, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, by returning 2 non-digi eggs to the trash to the top of your deck, de-digivolve 2 of one of your opponent's Digimon. So being able to de-digivolve 2 of one of your opponent's Digimon as an answer for level 6, really good. I think having access to all these new great cards, this deck has so much going for it in the right way. And I can't wait to see how this deck evolves going forwards. And again, Lucimon has some potential. Now, we do have the, good friend of the Dark Masters. Dark Masters focuses on this strategy of OT King with the new level 7 Apocalypse that's supposed to, once you have all your Dark Masters in your security, you're supposed to spit them out with Apocalypse, and your opponent just has no answer response with this thing. So you're going to be able to take all, Machine Dramon, Metal Sea Dramon, Puppet, and Pied from your security, put it underneath this thing, reduces the play cost, making it basically 4, 8, 12, 16. A fancy 1 cost comes down. Then basically on play when digivolving, you get to play your Dark Masters, and at the end of the turn, they get deleted. So you take advantage of cards like Keenan, who is basically, and when a Digimon is played by an effect, you may suspend this tamer, gain a memory, but also having the on play of your opponent may trash 1 tamer card or option card from the hand. If they didn't trash, gain a memory, draw a card. So again, you can extend with Keenan, becoming a 2 cost. But again, you have access with Kyrie because you're going to be using cards like Spiral Mountain and Island of Adventures to kind of just keep your in the bonuses here. Matt Ishida, just basically because your Digimon self-delete at the end of an opponent's turn, Matt Ishida could help you extend play, while gain you more memory to keep things going more. Then you have like Digimon Emperor. This should help slow down any of those decks that want to take advantage of their level 3 evolutions coming out. And then you have like Kyrie here, that your turn when a card is added to your security stack, you may suspend this tamer, gain a memory. So at your end of, so again, being able to use like Spiral Mountain, at the end of your turn, delete the Digimon this effect played. So basically Kyrie combos off with that. If I remember correctly, delete at the end of turn, delete this Digimon this effect played. So again, if you have Kyrie out, you can make this be, reduced by 5, becomes a 6. You can make it a 2, 5 costs coming in. So the more Kyries you have, Matt Ishidas you have, the more likely that after the end of turn, after these guys have self-deleted, you could bring the turn back to you, and boom, you now have full access to continuing your turn a little bit more. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I think this deck has a lot going for it, and I can't wait to see where people go. The fact we are playing Mother D Reaper is just in here to be the anti-raid target that your opponent is going to be trying to just raid into. So again, it's nothing too out of the ordinary, just Mother D Reaper. I wish we had Shoto. This deck would probably do a lot better with Shoto, but I understand why they didn't want to keep doing it. Now we do have Lord Nightmon, aka Dark Nightmon. So again, the fact of the matter is Dark Nightmon has been doing some local level shenanigans. So I adjusted and adapted and evolved this deck in a way with, we have Monimon. That's basically if you have a black tamer, draw a card, which you have plenty of Nenes and Rie, Kishabi. So basically, Kishabi will be able to kill one of your Nene here, your 3-cost Nene, to combo in and basically reduce it by 3. And then you kind of combo it with this to instantly become this Lord Nightmon coming in for free. And then your opponent is now staring down a Lord Nightmon that can easily hit them. The same turn, being able to have raid and reboot. One of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of opponent's turn, and then may attack a player. All turns, when this Digimon attacks a player, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play a 4 cost or lower black or red card among them without, and then trash the rest. Basically, you're just trying to play your level 4s very comfortably, and then you kind of go and digicross with your Dark Knightmons, especially the new Dark Knightmon being as powerful as it is. I get that it only brings it down to a 5 cost. I wish it brought it down to 4, but no rush or anything like this. But the deck has such now benefits with Lord Knightmon, Lord Knightmon Ace, Lord Knightmon X, you know, Fist of Athena, just giving so many a boost. I think we have a lot going for it in the right way, and I can't wait to see where we go further, especially because this deck has some potential to grow more. Now, we do have Beelzemon. Beelzemon got some new tricks up its sleeve. So if you take a look, it has Balphamon here. That's basically on play when Digivolving trash the top 3 cards of your deck. Then if you have 5 or more cards in your trash, Digimon gains reboot and blocker until the end opponent's turn. If you have 10 or more cards in trash, you may play a Beelzemon from trash without paying its cost. Balphamon also gives a boost to the attack boost. I mean, it is an evolution. You know, Wizardmon being able to minus 3000 DP of all your opponent's Digimon is nasty. You know, this new Impmon being able to start a main trash the top 2 cards of your deck. When a card is trashed from your deck, you may delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lowers, and then just giving it a hairable 1000 DP. And we already talked about Beelzemon Ace earlier in the video, but having all access tools we do, we can lead in just having this Beelzemon gain rush, and if we could swing in the same turn with it, then go with an X antibody underneath and get into Beelzemon X antibody, we could win game just by doing that. So it's just something to think about, especially because, again, it's an on-play when Digivolving trash in the top 4 cards of the deck. Then if you have 10 or more cards in trash, Digivolve 2 of your opponent's Digimon. So again, not terrible. I think this has a lot going for it. I mean, you could definitely not play this card, but why not, right? The deck is still self-milling, self-propelled to just kill your opponent. Now, we do have Creepymon. Creepymon is a self-mill deck, so you are going to mill, it stops at 10, and then you get to play pressure this way. You know, Creepymon, when Digivolving on deletion, delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. In fact, didn't delete, trash the top 5 cards of their deck. You know, if your opponent has 10 or more cards in the trash, you may play 1 red or purple, 5000 DP or lower from your trash to an empty breeding area without paying its cost. End of turn, the Digimon may attack. So again, you get some damage with Creepymon. It's not bad. I think the restriction of being just 10 cards, I get it. They didn't want to go crazy. Definitely play Magnetic Memory Boost when we get it, but if not, just up the purple trainings at the end of the day and you're pretty decently good. Just the fact that we can mill our opponent a little bit. We're not going to be able to mill them crazily because we stop at 10 with most of our millers in this deck, but again, a great option nonetheless for a lot of players to kind of just get used to and want to play. But all in all, guys, we do have Myotismon and we do have a Bagra Army deck list on the channel, so hopefully you guys check those out. But guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.